Mr. Devon, do you think you could work a little more diligently? I'm not sure who brought you to this company to work here with that other idiot of yours, but this is not some children's playground. If you and he don't start to pick up the slack on your end, this company's going to be in trouble.
Hello, Jackson. Are you talking about today? I suppose I got in your way today, so I'm sorry if I caused anything to happen with you and your work.
I'm being serious here. Stop fooling around. What you're doing here is going a bit too far with that attitude. Do you really think that working with this company means nothing to you?
Huh? No. I think of all of this as a huge deal for both companies involved. Why would you think I don't have any respect for the work done here?
Because of what I've seen from you. I'm working hard to make sure that all my work gets done, and you just come along as a useless employee, bringing along another of your useless buddies. You want to experience more in the business world, do you? Stop messing around and just get your job done. That might help you learn what the real working world is like.
I'm sorry, but that wasn't my intention in coming here. But you should be aware that everyone's existence in certain things may vary depending on where they're from. And I was just hoping that today we could work together on gaining more understanding.
And that's the reason why I'm telling you to not come around me again. You know dang well that we are not the same in any way, and in my case I don't have the time to work with you in gaining new skills or anything like that. If you think that you want to be a customer to me and this company, go find another person to care for you.
I'm not sure what all I did to cause such a fuss, but I'm sorry. But I'm also very serious about my work as a more recent employee in this sort of business, and I was just hoping that you and I could work together on this. I will try harder to be less intrusive in your work, so can you please let this go just this one time?
This alone has shown me that you're going to be a problem for me.
Huh?
You guys need to take a step back and look at the position that you're all in. I'm a busy man with a lot of work on my hands, and yet you believe that I'd be willing to make time to school you on how to do your job? Impossible.
I didn't mean it as though you had to hold my hand or anything. I just wanted someone that could look over and make sure that things were going smoothly. I didn't think asking that of you would have caused you to become so upset.
You really are just screwing around, Devon. I'm telling you that isn't the problem here. What I mean is that you don't understand the relationship of working with other customers.
Understood. My apologies.
Heck, you're the worst. Today, I have plans to go out with a young and beautiful woman at a high-end French restaurant for dinner. But now you've made me feel like crap. How are you going to take responsibility for what you've done?
I did hear that you had gotten married recently, so today was the day you'd be going out with your wife for a nice night out. I'm so sorry for ruining your mood on the day of such an important occasion. I assure you, though, that if you just calm down a little, your night with her will not be ruined.
Wrong! Today I plan to go on a date with my girlfriend. I've grown tired of going out with my wife for dinner, and recently we haven't even had any dates. I'm sure that all of this talk about high-end dinners and going on dates is a bit too much for some moneyless idiot, right?
Huh? Is your wife aware that you have a girlfriend?
Why would she need to know about that? I knew that someone of your likes wouldn't know a dang thing about the real world. Men like me that have money are allowed to have multiple women that they're free to play around with. But this is all far beyond anything you could imagine.
Well, there isn't anyone that does that sort of thing around me. I guess I thought something like that was like committing a crime in a way. Considering how your wife might feel about something like that, you might want to stop seeing other women.
Kevin, that's just what men are like. You can't go out saying things like that. But I get it. You're not like other men and can't understand what's going on here. After all, you're in some other world where only idiots dwell.
I don't want to understand whatever world you're living in.
Well, whatever, man. Talking with you about all this has been boring. For the time being, if I see you do anything as rude as what you did today, I'll have the CEO know about it and have you fired.
You'd have me fired? Who would be able to do that to me?
All I have to do is tell my CEO about you, and he'll make sure that you're gone. Now be careful, man.
Understood.
You made your way to the office today, and I wasn't even able to see you at all. I'm really sorry about that. How was everything for you?
Good to see you, Michael. Well, hey, I have something to tell you about that Jackson guy that works for you. He really thinks himself as someone big there, doesn't he?
Ah, right. He's a bit of a problem, isn't he? Did something happen between you two?
Well, about that, I brought my nephew along with me today. He said that he wanted to see what it was like within your company and all that.
Oh, you did mention something about doing that today, so you did end up bringing him along.
Yeah, and when Jackson saw me bringing him with me into the office today, he asked me for my number and all that. And what at first I thought would be him asking me some questions about work and things like that turned out to be him making a lot of harsh remarks about me and my nephew. He acted like we were both new hires or something and asked if I was fooling around with my work.
Dang, that guy. He really doesn't read the atmosphere at all. Not only does he rarely get any work done here, but he thinks he means something to this company. Even today, he never came to me to report any of the work he'd gotten done. So that means all he did today was use the time he had while in the office to complain to you?
That's what it seems like to me. He just came out of nowhere with all this. Although when I had talked to him at the office and asked to work with him for a little bit, he did have a slight attitude towards me, which he later followed up with saying that the office wasn't a child's playground.
That must all be because you brought your nephew with you, huh? Why does he think it's acceptable to act that way? I'm sure that there was something else going on with him that put him in a bad mood. I think you can just forget about what he said today and move on from it.
That's totally fine with me, but is he always like that?
Well, he has always been the kind of guy to think that he's above a lot of other people. But that's the funny thing, right? When you really think about it, you're far above him in this world.
That's right. I'm sure that he is just that kind of a person, but I'm surprised that he had no clue who I was. Makes me think that he mistook me for someone else.
Man, he really did do something pretty unacceptable today. Honestly, having him within this company makes my job a lot harder. And with him always having these sudden fits of thinking he's superior to everyone else, it really does show just how awful of a person he is to be around.
So, why don't you have him taken care of? I'm sure that he'd be gone in no time after all he's done.
Well, I'm just worried about what would happen after that. I don't want to think about the spite he'd have against us here. And it's already normal for him to be as irritating as he is.
I see.
Really, the best outcome would be if he ended up quitting the job he has here.
That's a good point. Well, I can see now what's going on there. If I happen to run into him again, maybe I can talk a bit more sense into him. If it makes any difference, I can tell him some things that'll help him settle down a bit.
That would be really helpful.
I'll let you know the next time I plan to visit.
Seeing how shocked you were was just the icing on the cake. Thinking you're some high-end man coming to a sushi restaurant as impressive as that.
I was thinking what happened to me, leaving me as shocked as I was warranted. And what made you think that you had to do something like that to me?
I did that because you're getting too far ahead of yourself now. I came to have a wonderful sushi dinner today with my girlfriend, and the restaurant is not the sort of place for a useless idiot like you to be showing up to.
Excuse me?
This is the restaurant I frequent quite often, and I will not let some poor person come in. I think that me throwing that huge sushi roll at your head should be more than enough to teach you to never come again.
That's what I thought was going on. I was in awe by the fact that you would throw something like a plate with sushi on it at me. But after sitting down to bandage up the cuts you left on me, I had time to think about you as a person. That's when I knew this was all because of your misunderstanding.
Ah? Tell me again that this was all due to my misunderstanding?
Jackson, you'll no longer be allowed to go into work.
What the hell are you talking about? Do you see who you're talking to right now?
Yes, I know exactly who I'm talking with. And right now I'm going to tell your CEO about what's happened. And because of that, you can expect to never be allowed back into work again starting tomorrow.
What makes you think that'll happen? Stop talking all that nonsense and listen up.
I think all this nonsense will make a bit more sense for you in the coming days. I hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow.
Listen, is this just you screwing with me because you couldn't handle a little rice on your suit? You might think you'll get me all worked up over the crap you're saying, but when it's coming from someone with no money, I have no need to get worked up. Do you even think my CEO would listen to you?
I assumed you wouldn't believe me.
Do you think you have the influence to do anything about me? Time for you to settle down and shut up. And one more thing for you. Were you looking to try and steal my beautiful girlfriend today?
What are you even talking about? Just enjoy the rest of your night with that lovely woman you brought with you. Be aware that tomorrow you'll get the chance to see the reality of what you've created.
Hey, what the hell's going on? I was just told by one of the higher-ups that I'm on the way to being fired, and I can't even use my ID to get into the office anymore. What the hell did you do to me?
I made sure to have you fired.
I told you I've had enough of this nonsense. There's no way a lowlife like you could ever have me fired like this.
Well, I can. After all, I'm not some low-level employee like you think. Rather, I'm the representative of my company.
Huh? What are you saying now?
I'm sure that something like that would be too difficult for you to understand, correct? But you don't need to worry about whether you can understand who I am or not anymore. You have no relation to either of the companies anymore, so just be on your merry way.
Huh? Are you being serious right now? This has to be some sort of game, right?
If this were a joke, then how come you were told that you were on the path to being fired? Furthermore, why would you be unable to access the office with your ID?
I'm so sorry for what I did to you yesterday. I had assumed you were just some low-life contractor or something, but you really are the rep of that company. I didn't know a thing about that, and I'm so sorry.
It's amazing how quickly the tables have turned on you.
Allow me to please come and apologize to you formally.
I don't need any of that from you. After this, you and I will never cross paths again, I'm sure.
I'm so frickin' sorry for everything I've done and said to you. I believe now that I was completely in the wrong for everything, and so can you find some way to at least let me keep this job? Can't you find it in your heart to forgive me just a little bit for what happened?
Whether I was just some random person or the leader within this company, I would never forgive you for what you did. You thought it was acceptable to throw a whole sushi roll and a plate at someone like that. Someone that thinks like that will never be allowed to work around me.
Please don't say scary things like that. What happened then? You could say that it might have had to do with me having a small outburst or something.
Is that all that was? Even though before you assaulted me, you were having a great time with that girlfriend of yours? It looked to me like you two were having a great time.
Well...
That's not all, Jackson. There are a lot of claims coming in from all sorts of people that have worked with you before. You seem to have been very relaxed in the workplace while everyone else was trying hard to get work done. Some would say too relaxed even, and you made that very well known to all of them.
You've heard things like that about me too? Who would be talking about me that way?
If you knew who said that to me, what would you do to them? Would you do the same as you've done to me and assault them when they're least expecting it? Hit them with food items or dining ware?
I would never do that to anyone.
Well, it's because of things like that you're going to be immediately terminated from that company.
Wait, please! If that happens to me, my wife will learn about what's happened.
Are you talking about how you have another woman behind her back? Well, whether it's sooner or later, she's going to find out eventually. When you say this is perfect timing for it? I told you before, didn't I? That you should stop dating another woman.
You're being too merciless with me right now.
It's because of you that one of my most nicest suits was ruined. And on top of that, sustained 2 cuts to my neck where the plate shattered. I wouldn't say something like me being merciless. Rather, I'd say I'm giving you a taste of your own medicine.
I'm so very sorry, Devin. I'm asking you to please forgive me just a little.
I'm sure that you only think that I'm the one that'll be tough on you, but remember that I'm not the only person you've ticked off with your gross attitude. I'm sorry, but I am not going to let you continue to cause them any more trouble like you've caused me. Now hurry up and understand the position you're in, and prepare to get a fresh breath of hell's air. After that, Jackson tried his hardest to talk with Devin more about how horrible he had acted, and that he wanted to apologize for everything. However, Devin was having none of it, and told him that he had far more important work to attend to. And just like that, Jackson was fired from his job, which his wife soon heard about, and at that moment she also learned of the woman that he had been going out with behind her back. He may have lost his job and will soon lose his wife as well, and once he's learned just how far he's fallen from being on the so-called top, he'll have to start finding himself a new job. But for someone with as twisted of a heart as he has, this new life goes perfectly with him.